Welcome to VLP's Tutor Training module on math. Please keep a pen or pencil and some paper handy for jotting down your thoughts and ideas, and always remember that you can pause the video if you need more time to think or write. What can you expect to tutor if you have a learner who needs math help? Well, we find that most of our learners need a solid review and often basic instruction in whole numbers, fractions, decimals, and percents. This means the concept of each as well as how to use them. It's always good to start with a review of the basics. Sometimes the gaps they have in their knowledge are surprising. It never hurts to go over multiplication and division, the number line, and understanding how numbers compare to each other, as well as place value, rounding, and estimating. Most will have seen these before. All they need is a good review in order to remember it. Each adult high school completion program has its own math requirements, and requirements change periodically, but all of them get into at least basic algebra and geometry. And those word problems. The actual application of the math skills is often one of the hardest things about math for our learners. It's not only the language of math, it's also sometimes a reading comprehension issue that confuses them. You'll always know exactly what your learner needs before you meet with him. Remember, your VLP specialist will let you know. So many people don't even realize they use math all the time. So when we use a situation to illustrate a math idea that relates to our learner's experience, they find it more interesting and are more likely to remember it and even to apply it in their lives. So much of what we do in life has a math component. Think about it. Do you shop for groceries? What do you buy by the pound? How do you know how much of something to buy? The cost of the green beans increases as the quantity you buy increases. What about mileage on the odometer and buying gas? Math, it's all around us and our learners, and it is real. Here's an ordinary oatmeal box from my kitchen. It's a wealth of math information. It has weight information in 3 different forms: straight ounces, pounds and ounces, and grams. A learner can imagine how heavy these things are in relation to each other. When he or she gets to proportions, you can talk about how those things relate and set them into a proportion. The shape itself is a cylinder, and we also have a circle with a diameter and circumference. We can measure those things with a tape measure, across, around, height. When the student gets to formulas, we can calculate the circumference from the diameter. We can calculate the area. We can calculate the volume of oatmeal that this would hold. Other things on this box include a recipe inside the lid. Recipes are wonderful for our learners who have never used them. This is a new skill set for them. They can learn to measure the amounts that are required, understand the fractions and how they relate. They can have or double or triple the recipe to use fractions in word problems. Another thing this box includes is nutritional chart information. This is also vital to our learners, both for health reasons and for the ability to read a chart. Information is given in grams and given in percents. Serving size, all kinds of information are given. The learner can make up problems as well as answer them. There's also a chart of directions. The directions include both fractions and reading a chart. There are many uses for the oatmeal box. Another thing I find in my house is an old deck of cards. The first thing that leaps to mind with cards is probability. What is the probability of drawing a 9 or a diamond or specifically the ace of spades? But another thing would be fractions. We can put out some cards and ask what fraction of this set is fives or twos or spades. A third and very interesting way to introduce signed numbers is to use the cards as red and black. Nobody wants to be in the red. Red is negative. Black cards are positive. And we can select some subset of the face cards to be 0. Then learner and tutor can play game-like situations where each one draws a card to decide who has the larger number. A larger set of cards can be arranged in order to simulate a number line. And when the learner gets comfortable with those things, you can add by everybody draws 2 cards or even more than 2 to see who has the higher total score. This is an assignment for you to get you thinking about making math real for your learner. Look around you, no matter where you are right now. What do you see that you could use to teach a math concept or skill? It can be a skill like addition or subtraction, or a concept like fractions or decimals, or percentages or averages, or algebra or geometry. You pick.